Call to order the July 15th evening session of the Johnston County Board of Commissioners, and welcome another full room of folks tonight. Good to see everyone here, and also welcome to those who are watching us on our YouTube channel. Hello to you. And I will say with a couple of announcements to start with, we had our prayer invocation this morning, invocation and pledge this morning, and I do have a couple other announcements that we had a vote on appointment to the JCC Board of Trustees, and Eugenia Borloin was selected for that. And we also have two items on the agenda. If you're here for and then you hear that they're not going to be on there, you're welcome to hang out with us or leave. But we have applicant in case 2325 has requested this to be continued until our August 5th meeting, 6 o'clock meeting, and we will continue the case then. And also case 2409 has been withdrawn by the applicant and will not be heard. So if you're here for those two, they will not be heard tonight. And finally, the last thing is we do have 6 priorities. I mentioned that this morning. We have had a social media effort to present our 6 priorities and how they tie to our budget and vice versa. And those 6 priorities are educational funding, infrastructure, financial stewardship, land use, public safety, and our county employees. So with that, I will move to the first item, which is approval of the agenda with the 2 noted adjustments.
Mr. Chairman, make a motion we approve the agenda with the adjustments that you made in your opening announcements.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. The agenda is approved. Next up, we have public comments, and I'll go ahead and read through. I know we have some tonight, and we have 3 groups of people who have signed up, but this is the time for any member of the audience to come forward and speak to an item that is not on the agenda. You have 3 minutes to address the board, and just ask that you maintain proper decorum and make the comments in a civil manner, and a reminder that this is a time for the board to receive information and not engage in public discussion or comment. So the first folks I will call is Mr. Kevin Saunders. Okay. No? Okay. And then the next up, we have some representatives of Isaiah 117 House, Randa Gay, and Jessica Brown.
Good evening.
Good
Thank you
evening.
guys for having us tonight. We're really excited to come and share with you about the Isaiah 117 House and bringing this to Johnston County. For those of you that don't know, it is a home for kids as they enter foster care. Instead of them going to sit at the DSS office, they'll come to a home that we're hoping to build sooner rather than later. And it'll be fully staffed with volunteers that will be able to help care for these kids so that the social workers aren't having to care for them as well as do their job. It'll be full home with kitchen, bath, all of the supplies needed to care for these children. So we're really excited to bring this to Johnston County. We're also super thankful for the department, for Commissioner Harris for jumping on a call with us a few months ago about getting this ball rolling and truly making this happen here. Jessica's going to share kind of where we are in the process now and some exciting updates that we have.
Yes, and so in addition, Randa and I are both foster parents in Johnston County as well, so this is something that is very near and dear to our hearts, and it is a project that we feel passionate about seeing through to completion. And we are excited to announce that we have been talking to the mayor of Selma, and there is a possibility of a land donation from the town. And with that land, that is a potential for a home site for the Isaiah 117 House, which would be a safe haven for the children in our community. This is a place where we could provide safety and care for them. And so we are really excited for that opportunity and are hopeful. All of the conversations so far have been very promising. In addition to our ongoing conversations in Selma, we are also seeking help from the community as well. We will take any kind of assistance we can get, and that could look like volunteer work, donations, or really just sharing. Word of mouth is super important as well. And so our focus remains on providing a safe and loving home for these children. We want every child who's coming into foster care to know that they are seen and that they're not alone. And so with the help of our county, I know that we can make this mission possible. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next up we have Reed Stevenson with an update on Flowers Plantation. It's not Reed, but here he is.
I'll take it. Good evening, Commissioners. Thank you for having me. My name is Ryan Jordan. I am honored to be here representing Flowers Plantation. We last stood before you around October of 2020, and I felt the need to come and present to you an update on where we are, the growth within Flowers, and provide you some realistic numbers of what we're seeing in the area. As you are well aware, we're a community of 3,000 acres with over 45 neighborhoods. These are all connected with 38 miles of walking trails, sidewalks, golf cart trails, and multiple commercial associations. We are honored to have the Publix, Harris Teeter, Food Lion as just a few of our commercial areas, and we're continuing to grow. One of the prouder items that we have is, as you know, after decades of trying to find a location for a YMCA, we gifted the building and land to what is now the East Triangle YMCA. We're proud to say that their programs are continuing to grow. They're flourishing. They just implemented several soccer areas, and we're seeing a lot of the youth in the area participate in those. Along with gifting land for 2 local elementary schools, Ms. Flowers also gifted the Thales Academy land for their campus, which we are honored to say actually started back school this morning, and they expanded into their new campus, a second building on site for grades 6 through 9. That opened up this morning, and they're already looking to expand to another building on the same site. So we're honored to see that growth in our community. Our residential numbers continue to showcase the ability to achieve the highest level of quality, craftsmanship, amenities, and security without having to city taxes. Since our last update in 2020, we have added 772 single-family homes and 383 multifamily homes. This also includes addition of 396 apartment units. Our current numbers showcase that we are at 5,050 residential units. Within the next year to 24 months, we're anticipating adding 825 additional residences. Commercial growth within Flowers is continuing to trend upward. Multiple new establishments are opening and have opened within the past year. Currently, we have right at 450,000 square foot of commercial space and more planned in the immediate future, consisting of several restaurants, banks, and additional healthcare facilities. Since my last update, we have added items such as Taco Bell, AutoZone, Smithfield Chicken and Barbecue, the Strickland Brothers, Highway 55, Dunkin' Donuts, Pier Green, and Biscuitville, to name a few. Throughout this, Flowers Plantation is proud to bring in a total annual tax revenue of right at $16.5 million to Johnston County. Our goals for the immediate future is to continue to remain separate and apart, growing and establishing what is Flowers Plantation and the pride that comes with that. We are looking at options for potentially looking at a zip code or post office to eliminate some of the confusion within our address system, and hope to have a solution to that in the near future. We look forward to working collaboratively with the Board of Commissioners, the Board of Education, and the Sheriff's Office on ways to ease the burden of our taxpayers and work with each of you as we continue to grow. Thank you for having me. We did just release a new video. If you go to our website, it'll go to history of Flowers and what is to come, and it really showcases what we have to offer. So Thank you again for your time tonight.
Thank you.
Wait a minute, can I ask you a
No,
couple of
absolutely.
questions?
Typically, we
Yes.
don't ask questions.
Oh, that's right, this is
Well,
public
you
comment.
can
I'm
talk
sorry.
about it in other
That's fine.
board comments, but, yeah, let's stick to our rules.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, anyone else? All right, we will, oh, and we don't have any emails with public comment, okay. All right, next up, we have the first of two special use permits. And let's see, we start with case 2410, and I will open the special use hearing and call for the clerk to swear in anyone wishing to speak on this item. And this is the cell tower at Corinth Holders High School.
That's all right. You're right. Yeah. I just hope they hang around long enough.
Is everybody? Do you swear that the testimony you are about to give before this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, Mr. Newton, if you would, present the background, and we'll see if we have any questions for you.
Yes, sir. So your case 24-10 does involve a petition for a special use permit for property located at 6875 Applewhite Road in Wilders Township. You will recognize the property. It is the school site for Corinth Holders High School. Obviously, property is owned by Johnston County Board of Education. The applicant is Thomas H. Johnston. He is an attorney representing the applicant, or representing the applicant as well. So this special use request is for a 250 feet tower, wireless communications tower on the site. So obviously there's a high school there on the site with all amenities will be associated therewith. Traffic concerns in this area, there is no count for Applewhite Road, and it does not appear on our comprehensive transportation plan as needing improvement. With regard to surrounding uses, land uses and zoning, the majority of it is zoned agricultural, residential, and used for such purposes. And additionally to that, you will see in your packet that the planning board did conduct a public forum. Once again, this is a quasi-judicial hearing, and with recent changes in general statute, the planning board's role is no longer advisory with regard to special use considerations. They are solely a forum for the matter to be publicly presented and give people the opportunity to see that and have discussions and ask questions to the applicant. So with that, I will be glad to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions for Mr. Newton? All right, thank you. We will now hear from the applicant.
Good evening. I'm
evening.
Tom Johnson. I'm an attorney with the law firm of Williams Mullen at 301 Fayetteville Street, Suite 1700 in Raleigh. Here on behalf of the applicant, Tower Co., who will be the builder and owner of the tower, and AT&T is slated to be the first tenant on the tower, the first carrier on the tower. And I have with me here tonight various experts, including representatives from AT&T, the appraiser who did an analysis of the impact on adjoining properties, as well as the engineer who was involved in the preparation of the drawings. So they're all available to answer any questions you may have technical-wise. But I want to go over the evidence and go over what the record shows. First of all, I'd like the application and all the associated documentation we've turned in to be admitted into evidence in support of our application. And second of all, the conditions, we're in agreement with the special use conditions, except for one, and I talked to Braston about this before the meeting. This is not a monopole tower. This will be a lattice tower because of its height. It's 245 feet with a 5-foot lightning rod. So condition 6 says feed lines have to be enclosed in the tower. Well, there's no enclosure to enclose them. It'll go up the lattice of the tower. So other than that condition, we're in agreement with all the conditions that are set forth and were recommended by staff. And as well, you have a consultant, Cityscape, who's reviewed this application and submitted a letter showing or stating that we met the requirements. The only additional change we had is the ordinance speaks to designing a tower for 6 co-locations. We're designing this for 4, simply because they're really only, with the major carriers, there are only 4 that could use it. And it does make a substantial savings in terms of building the tower and the cost of it. And so we are asking that be changed to allow us to do 4, which is what we've designed it for. We were looking for a site. We found out there was really a tremendous need for coverage in and around Corinth Holders High School, which is very poor service out there. Of course, we're in the infrastructure business. I know the chair mentioned one of your key points is infrastructure. And that's really what this is now. The days of regular telephone service are gone, and so this is the infrastructure for not only voice but data communications. This is not only a site for AT&T, but it's a site for FirstNet, of which Johnston County is a part. That is to support first responders. So FirstNet will be part of this tower as well. But we came forward and talked to the school system about locating a tower on the site. We worked with schools administration and the administration of the high school to determine where on the site would work the best. And that's where we came up with the site, where it's currently located near Ball Field. Kind of consistent with the other tall structures in the area, because around ball fields you've got light poles that provide lights for the ball fields. So that was a location that was chosen to be consistent with school activities. You have several findings of fact in the report. I want to go through those. This is, as was mentioned earlier, a special use permit. There's several findings of fact that need to be made in connection with a special use permit, and I do want to go through each of those in detail. The first is that the use or development is located, designed, and proposed to be operated so as to maintain or promote the public health, safety, and general welfare. Key point is, number one, this is supporting first responders, but in addition to that, it provides wireless coverage for those that may have an emergency and have the need for services, plus key infrastructure for data usage. And at a school, that's critically important as well, to have that access to high-speed data for use in the school. But not only that, the voice and providing strong cell service is really important as well, because in the event anything happens at the school, whether it be an adverse weather event, the emergencies we hear about around schools, unfortunately, in this day and age, but also somebody as simple as somebody getting injured on the ball field. They need to have access to wireless service in order to be able to call 911 and first responders. And, I was talking to Neil Jarman last week. He's here tonight, the head of the Booster Club, and he said, really they have to run to the building if anything happens, because there's no coverage if there were an injury on the ball field. So that's a key point, and the fact that this does indeed promote health, safety, and general welfare, and in accordance with the county's plan. The second factor is that the use of the development appears to comply with all required use and intensity regulations of the Land Development Code. Basically, the ordinance dealing with towers. And we went through and answered every single aspect of that ordinance in our application and how we met the requirements. But you had the additional layer, as I mentioned earlier, that you have an expert consultant, Cityscape, who reviewed our application and concurred that we met the requirements of the ordinance. But for, like I said, the 4 co-locations versus 6, that's something that's a modification that I'm asking this board to consider. But aside from that, we met the requirements. Next factor is that use or development is located, designed, and proposed to be operated so as to maintain or enhance the value of a contiguous property, and that the use and development is a public necessity. Could argue it's a public necessity because of the need for first responders, but aside from that, we have an impact study that we had a North Carolina licensed appraiser, Michael Berkowitz, who's here tonight, complete, where he found that indeed the tower would not have an adverse impact on the values of contiguous properties. The next factor, or the fourth factor, is that the use or development conforms with the general plans of physical development of the county's planning jurisdiction, design manual, or other development policies as adopted by the commissioners. Again, as I mentioned earlier, this is infrastructure and supports infrastructure and public safety services to the county, but also provides data and voice coverage for those that are at the school and in the area of the school. So those are key points to meeting the goals of the county and the support of the county. Again, that's really all I have to say about it, unless there are questions of this board, or you want to speak to some of my experts that presented the information that's in the associated with the application, because they are here, can speak if you've got questions of them, or if you want to hear from them in more detail, whether it be the engineer or Mr. Berkowitz, who did the impact study, or from AT&T.
All right. Any questions for any of those experts?
I have a question about the location.
Okay.
Sure.
I'm looking at the ortho photograph,
Yes, sir.
and it looks like the site that's been identified is in the middle of either a baseball or softball field.
It's behind the field, there's a track on one side, and it's beyond the outfield of the ball field.
So it does not interfere with any type of recreational activities.
No, it does not. That's why we specifically work with the school's administration and the school itself in locating it, so it would specifically not interfere.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Any other
anyone-
questions?
I was going to say, any other questions? All right. Anyone else here wishing?
And I just reserve the right to come speak to anything that may come up after my presentation.
All right. Is there anyone else here wishing to speak for or against? Please come forward and state your name and address, please.
Hey, I'm Neil Jarman. How y'all doing tonight? It's good to see y'all. It's good to see friendly faces, people I've seen around. But I'm Neil Jarman. I'm a builder, Jarman Homes, and I'm a parent. I've got a rising junior. He's playing football and baseball at Corinth Orders High. And, I've had my other two sons graduate from Corinth Orders High, and we have lived without cell coverage forever. And it's really, once I start talking about it, I'll get upset, because we've been overlooked and overlooked and overlooked. There's 8 schools in our athletic conference, and all 7 of those, you can do a credit card transaction when you go to the gate. We can't do that there. We have to do it in cash, and people can't call their rides, the kids can't call their moms and dads if practice finishes early, or if it goes late, and, to warn them, hey, it's going to be a little while, and, we just don't have those kinds of conveniences. And, the conveniences is irritating and stuff, but the main thing is the safety. The safety where if one of those, our kids, on that practice field, if someone really got hurt in a traumatic event, where seconds matter, we're going to be in a bad situation. We've got to run, and it might not work out for that person that's going through that tragic situation. And we do not want that to happen. I know the people that are responsible for getting the tower out there do not want that happening. We're having more and more people coming to Corinth Orders High now than ever before, and we keep getting more and more people. So, odds are that a traumatic event is going to happen, and we want to be prepared for it. And we want to be able to grab our phone and 911. We don't want to have to, holler at each other, go, then the next person run and go, and maybe send smoke signals like the Indians back in the day. But anyway, the safety is the main thing. Convenience would be better. It would make our school look better and sound better to everyone, and it would be a place where people want to come and go and participate, and the kids would love it too. And they're here tonight too. And they're our student athletes, and they are awesome. All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. All right. Anyone else wishing to speak? All right. I will close the public discussion portion of the hearing and call on Mr. Newton to come forward and summarize and present the planning board's recommendation. Actually, you don't present.
It will be no planning board's
recommendation.
recommendation, yes, sir. So as Mr. Johnson said previously, our consultant Cityscape did review and found that they had met all the criteria as outlined in our ordinance with regard to the tower. Once again, they are requesting a waiver of the six required co-locations by ordinance. And staff does have no issues with the reduction to 4 co-locations, as there are only 4 carriers, really viable carriers, in the market currently. Be glad to answer any questions you may have. And if we could, let me add, Mr. Johnson was correct. Item number 6 in the special use conditions, we would like to have that stricken as well. That was an oversight that is applicable only to those monopoles.
So do we need to add one with the 4
We could
co-location
swap out, we could
versus-
swap out 6, omit that one, and add the reduction from 6 to 4.
Okay. All right. Any questions for Commissioner Newton? All right, I will close the special use hearing and turn it over to the board for discussion, deliberation.
Mr. Chairman, I have the privilege of representing the district that Corinth Holder is in, and am very familiar with the things that Neil talked about. I have had grandchildren go to that school, and I can confirm that he's exactly right. And what I'd like to do is make a motion, get the matter on the floor, and then speak to it. So I'm based on the finding of facts and special use conditions, I move to approve the special use permit.
I second it.
Second.
All right, now that the matter's on the floor, I think as Neil rightly pointed out, it's just unfair for Corinth Holder because they're in an area that has not had the traditional infrastructure, which we talk about, that the other schools have. And when kids are on the field playing and they get hurt, cell phones have become a part of our culture, a part of our needs, and we don't need the folks at Corinth Holder High School to be second-class citizens. And I think if the school wasn't for this, they wouldn't allow it to be on their grounds. And I just think it's important that we pass this motion tonight.
Any other discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Johnson pointed out the fact of the, quick response in emergency situations, but more than likely, the everyday situation is when a child gets out of practice early and can't call a parent, So I think for that reason, I'm in favor of it.
All right, and I would just ask to clarify, that did remove the existing item 6 and replace it with the 4 co-locations.
The reduction from 6 to 4.
Yeah, okay, thank you. All right, any other discussion? All right, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Thank you. Yeah.
Don't get applause very often.
I was gonna say, you're welcome to stay, or you're welcome to go. There you go. I didn't even have to say that, so.
See, now I should have asked that question.
Oh, yeah, well, I take all right, give another second to clear, and then we'll.
Leaving nobody's coming in.
Is there somebody out there? Okay.
Begin the second shift.
Yeah. All right, we will move on to the next case, which is modification of special use permit 1424. I will open the special use hearing and call for the clerk to swear in anyone that thinks they might want to speak on this issue.
Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give before this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
All right, and as stated, this is a permit, petition to modify existing special use permit. And Mr. Newton, I will turn it over to you for case background and lead us in discussion.
Yes, sir. So as you stated, this is a request to modify a special use permit for a 9,700 acre lot located at 8771B Cleveland Road in Cleveland Township. Property is zoned general business, special use district, and they're requesting to add allowable uses. The owner is Cardhouse Holdings LLC, and applicant is Vincent Sandy Lair. So they're looking to add an allowable use to permit automotive repair mechanical to this existing special use permit. Just to give you some quick idea of where this property is, located on Cleveland Road, if you're familiar with Broadmoor, the Broadmoor community. This is directly across from it. There's a newer building there. Currently houses on one side Profile Construction, and on the other end is the Cleveland Barber Shop, which is consistent with the current special use permit, and it is currently in compliance with all conditions of the special use permit. The surrounding zoning and uses, you will see that there is some residential to the rear, and this is planned development, which is Wellesley. Some agriculture, residential, and then some general business directly across the road there. Obviously, there is a mix of uses in this area in the Cleveland community. You can see there just to the west, kind of north and west, is what is now the Emporium, what used to be Mr. Wells' store.
So, Mr. Newton, I just want so the
It's
parcel
actually-
in red, is that the correct parcel?
It's actually the property to the right.
Okay.
It'll be 8771.
Okay,
You see
thank you.
general business either, yes, sir. So this property does front on Cleveland Road. Your traffic counts on Cleveland Road are about 9,500 vehicles per day per 2021 count. You can imagine that they are probably substantially higher than that now, at least to some degree, I will say. Higher than that. So it is, that is current concern. However, this additional use would not generate a tremendous amount of traffic or trips. In addition to that, there is, with the site plan that has been provided to you, there is no expansion or addition of a driveway for the property. It already exists, and it is properly permitted driveway. Be glad to answer any questions you may have, and with regard to this request.
Any questions, Mr. Newton? So this essentially is to modify it to use the backside of the existing structure?
Yes, sir. So the backside of the building constructed such that it would accommodate this type of use with a large overhead door. Obviously, any modifications to the building would have to be properly permitted and inspected, and those found, any improvements be found to meet all relevant in North Carolina code. So, but yes, it is. And once again, they would be utilizing the same drive, and there is a formal site plan process that they would have to go through to ensure compliance with all county ordinances, including stormwater.
All right, any other questions for Mr. Newton? All right, thank you, Mr. Newton, and would the applicant please come forward?
Good evening. My name is Michael Carter. I'm attorney at Spence, Carter & Reed, and I'm representing the applicant today. And today we have with us the applicant, who will actually speak shortly, and Mr. Gower, who's the owner of the company that owns the property. So a few things with this. You just went through a lot of it pretty quickly. I'm going to put him on in just a second to present evidence, since we have a duty to put on evidence to meet the four finds of fact. Just to keep in mind, this was from a 2014 originally special use that now they're trying to modify again for the automotive repair mechanical addition. And there is, in this case, we're not going to be asking for any condition that was on it to be changed or anything. Everything that was currently on from 14 is fine for now as well. So what I'm going to do is I will go through these four questions as we're actually, as I have my client speak through this. And I think to make it easy, I'll have my client come up here and where would y'all like me to make sure I hear? I can either project very loudly.
So I would say if you can share the microphone,
Okay.
that way it can be recorded and the folks on the live stream. So you'll just move from side, I hate to ask you to move side to side, but stay near the microphone, yeah.
Sort of like a duet singing.
Yeah.
We can handle this. Please state your name for the record.
Vincent James St. Hilaire, live just off of Contender Drive here in Clayton. Been a resident for about 11 years. Love it here.
Now, you submitted an application for this rezoning, right?
That is correct.
And you were present for what you just went through when they're describing what you're planning to do and showing the areas?
That is correct.
All right. I'm going to hand you what's been marked as Exhibit A. Can you tell me what this is, please?
So this is the application that you gentlemen should all, and you as well, should all have in front of you as part of the application process. Filled out, answered all the questions to the best of my ability. Also included the original special permit that was that has governed the property for the last 10 years.
That's the same one that was in the pamphlet that was just shown earlier.
That is correct.
And the same one's in the agenda tonight.
That is correct.
Okay. And those questions, the answers to the 4 findings of fact are the same answers you provided initially, is that correct?
That is correct.
At this time, we'll hand these out. You each have a copy. There should be probably an extra copy. And while we're doing that, to save a little bit of time, I'll hand you what the marks as Exhibit B. Tell me what that
Yep.
is.
So I had noticed that they had chosen the wrong GIS, the plot map in there. So just to make sure you guys had the relevant, correct information, we had also done some research on that, on the current plot that it's on.
So hold on a second. We're going to go through it one at a time with them. I'm going to bug you one more time. Hand you that. So while they're passing that around, so they clarify which property is actually being used, and the correct property is the one that's marked in red on the Exhibit B they've also handed, correct?
That is correct.
All right, go to the next page, please. One more page. So additionally, on page 3, it shows the current zoning, and that's correct to what was presented, showing that there's agricultural use to the east and south, as well as to the north, there's a PUD use, and then beside you is another additional zoning that was similar to yours.
That is correct.
Okay. So, that's true and accurate. You pull it off online. There's nothing to change on that, correct?
That's correct.
All right. Hand you what's been marked as plan Exhibit C.
So these are current photos, the Google photos that were taken before and uploaded into the plan fit were out of date, missing the new building that was has been put up next to it. So
Give them a second so they can look at what you talked about. Make it a little easier for them.
hopefully this should help and also show
Do you
that
have a
we're
copy of all this? Okay.
also show that we are meeting the current special provisions in the special use permit that is applicable right at this moment.
So now that everyone has a copy of this, it looks like, can you tell me what's this first picture, Joel?
So the first picture that you see, the building on the left that says profile construction. Oh,
I'm just gonna make sure she
Yes.
has one.
yeah, no problem.
Pass that to Susie.
Susie, pass it to Susie.
Pass it to Susie. To Susie. There you go. Thank you.
Susan, next time I'll have your own packet, so I'll make it easier on you, sorry.
Yeah.
Now tell them what's in the Exhibit C.
Okay, so in the first one, that is the picture on the left that says profile construction. That is the building in question. The building on the right is the newer one. So I'll be occupying the building on the left. This is the front, shows the handicap parking that's available and everything like that next to it. This will be the storefront.
Go to the second page. Just tell them what that second page is on.
Second page just showing it from a different angle. On the original site plan, it was shown that it was going to be a gravel driveway. I wanted to show that it actually is all concreted in, and it has the proper vegetation. And also you can see in between the two buildings, kind of hard to make out, but there is an opaque fence with that any vehicle storage or anything like that will be located behind the building and behind the fence out from the public view. And that was a big concern of mine.
Okay, next page.
And then on the next page, it's just a picture of the rear, so you can show the, I forget the technical term of the brush in between the AR, the housing development, agriculture, residential, that's going to be to the east of the building. And then just showing that that's where the, limited 10 vehicles, if there are any, that's where they'll be stored.
So like we see here, is it fairly thick vegetation blocking both the communities that are agricultural, so it's the east and the south?
That is correct. The vegetation follows all the way around, and you can even see the vegetation on the picture, both pictures prior. The amount that's behind the 8817 building, and then between us and the fence, and you can even see the new house that I watched the guys build in a matter of like 4 days.
So what's your goal for this business?
So my goal is to provide primary quality automotive service repair that seems, I'm not going to say the word lacking. I think we have plenty of quality repair facilities, especially down Cleveland Road. But with all the housing developments that have gone up recently, the demand for a local automotive repair technician has grown dramatically with those. Just in the community where I live, I'm constantly being bombarded on Facebook groups. Hey, can you come by? Can you help? And I want to help, but I had to tell them, hey, you got to come visit me at work, which is up in Raleigh. And on a good day, it's a 35-minute drive. On a bad day, it's a 3-hour drive until the 540 is done. So trying to get more local. I've worked at all the local facilities down Cleveland Road over the years. And frankly, I think I can just do a better job.
Now, do you have any certifications related to doing this type of work?
I actually do. I have over 28 ASC certifications. I'm about 2 certifications to get in the world-class ASC certification, which only about 2,800 technicians in the United States actually have. And there's nobody that currently has that certification in the state of North Carolina, let alone in the Clayton-Johnston County area. So once I get that, I'll be one of the very few Blue Seal of Excellence shops located in the area. To my knowledge that I can research on their ASC website, there's not even one in the Raleigh-Durham area.
Now, is most of the work going to be done inside the shop, in the back? Where's the work going to be done?
100% of the work will be done inside the shop. There will be no work done on the outside. I don't like parking lot repairs. I think it's unprofessional.
So the only reason you have that back area is just literally to hold cars if there is some holdover?
That's correct. It's just to hold cars while we're transporting, and a customer drops it off, we'll bring it into the back, so that way another customer can drop off another vehicle till we get it inside and the repairs are performed.
And about how many employees are you going to start with?
In the beginning, it's only going to be about 2 employees. My goal is to hopefully within the 12 months have about 5 employees. I don't really have a set maximum, but if I outgrow this space, then, I'll have to look at some light industrial 42.
I'm going to hand you what's marked as Exhibit D. What is that?
So this was the original site plan, and this is on the agenda.
Sorry.
It was in the original applicant package, so you will have that.
And it's a true and accurate copy of the site plan you submitted, right?
That is correct.
And I apologize. Some of this I'm doing for safety, so you have it on the record.
Okay.
And I'm also going to hand you what's been marked Exhibit E. What is this?
This is my current ASC certifications, and also my
Oh, you're fine.
Section 609 EPA certification, to show that I am certified to handle the recovery of refrigerant for automotive use.
Just hand you what's been marked as Exhibit F. What is that one?
This was the Johnston County Comprehensive Land Use Plan.
I'm going to pass this around. You've looked at it, you saw on the screen earlier when they were talking about being in the future use area, correct?
That is correct.
So when you've looked through this, can you roughly identify where the property is?
I can roughly identify it. It's near the left-hand side of the map, right where you see you'll see 42 is highlighted, nice bright red. There's a nice red circle located underneath that. It's roughly in that area.
But again, this is something that's already been established by the planning staff has already looked at and shown
Yep,
about there.
correct.
But
Yep.
it does work with it, and to also make it easier, the second page shows the approximate location on Google Maps, so you can compare them to it. Now, at this time, I'm going to move to admit into evidence plaintiff's exhibits A through F. All right, so your main use, you're trying to use this building, repair vehicles in the area and give service to the immediate area around you.
That is correct.
And has there been anything coming up, so people are gonna park in the front where you've got the parking already?
Yep,
Employees will have the side parking if you already talked about with planning.
that's correct.
Okay. And there's nothing in there that's a big major concern for public health, safety, or general welfare.
Nope, everything will be done in the building or out in the back.
So your goal is just to provide a service to meet the needs for that 4042 area.
That is correct.
Okay. And you went back and forth with the planning board and the actual planning staff on what was needed for this, correct?
That is correct.
Have you met all the requirements that they presented to you so far?
There was nothing additional that was brought up during the planning board.
Okay. And you realize this is a special use modification, so you still will be subject to the conditions from the previous special use?
That is correct.
And you have no issue with what was proposed by them?
I have absolutely no issue with maintaining the current use.
And you agree that you're going to maintain the property so far as meeting the Johnston County Land Development Code and the different requirements of the parking area, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Now, you did not, when it comes to value of this, have you really changed the nature of what's going in that place compared to what it was before?
I don't believe so. Considering that most of the work will be done inside the building, I don't think it's going to really bring down any kind of value. Also being inside, it is a regulated airspace. It has insulation on the inside, so that will cut down a lot of noise. And I can't be any louder than the music and TV that's being played at the pool across the street.
Who's currently in the building, or who was in the building before you were?
I am currently unaware of that, exactly who it was.
Okay. It was, what was it used
But it
for?
was, the original use was the construction company for storage, so it would be roughly the same as that, same amount of vehicles coming in and out. Most of my vehicles will be dropped off in the morning, and they'll be picking up after they get home from work. So there shouldn't be any additional foot traffic or automotive traffic throughout the day outside of the occasional parts delivery car or truck that comes by.
So it's staying a similar commercial type of use to what before?
That is correct.
Okay. And you've, as we shown with the land use map, it is meeting the future growth of the area as well.
Oh, definitely.
Perfect. We're happy to answer any further questions you may have.
All right, any questions for the applicant?
Vince, I know you have a lot of certifications. Is there any particular area of expertise that you dwell on, like transmissions or engines or anything like that?
Actually, being a military member, I can work on everything from a golf cart to a tracked vehicle. I know how to work on John Deere's, Caterpillars, Toyotas, BMWs, Mercedes, Fords. There is not anything that I have not personally touched.
M146.
I have not touched an Abrams unless, like, to work on, but I have been inside one. Yes, sir.
All right, good.
I'd like to ask some clarification about the differences of this drawing versus the photo. It shows gravel drive, but you said that has since been paved, or was that paved as part of the, that's a new building, correct?
That is a new building, yes, sir.
Was it paved as part of that construction?
So you can, it's kind of hard to tell with the picture, but you can see the differential between the two concrete pads. One is originally with the 8771, and then the other concrete. Yeah, so the concrete that's on the right is with the new building. The wider, brighter concrete.
Right, yeah, and
Yep.
I see the storm drain that it goes into, so
Yep.
I presume as part of that new construction, then the impervious surface considerations about runoff will taken into consideration.
It's being that that's a whole different plot and everything like that, I have personally not looked into that. I've only looked into the plot
Okay.
of what I currently have.
All right.
But I will definitely assume that that has definitely been taken into consideration as to why there's also gravel and vegetation still around the building and behind it as well.
And it's, I was shown on the pictures earlier, the plan showed the parcel used to be one large parcel before it was split off to that new building, right?
It looked like it was like 3 parcels maybe at one time.
Yeah,
That is
but
correct.
now it's at 3. Before it was at 2, so you had the bigger one.
Yes,
So most of that actual concrete is with the next door neighbor, not
that,
with you.
that is correct.
And that was prior to you going into this.
That's
or any
correct.
permits they had to pull when it was under the previous.
Correct. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
You were.
All right, any other questions? Anyone else wishing to speak? All right.
Thank you very much.
All right, I will close the public discussion and ask for Mr. Newton to come forward and summarize the case for us.
Yes, sir. As this is special use, the planning board only held a forum, special use modification, planning board held a forum. However, we would like to mention that with regard to the special uses, based on the statements given by the applicant with regard to work being done within the confines of the building, we would like to have that added to a condition of the special use permit as well, if that's possible.
Okay. All right. Any questions, Mr. Newton? All right, I will close the special use hearing and turn it over to the board for deliberation and or motion.
Mr. Chairman, I think the fellow would be a good addition to that neighborhood and for all his services, because there's a whole lot of people and a whole lot of cars around there. I move that we approve the special use permit modification based upon findings of fact and special use conditions with the addition of the work inside as a special use or as a condition.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All right. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. Motion carries. All right. Thank you, gentlemen. All right, Mr. Newton, I believe you have the next item up.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Just wanted to update you all on a couple of projects. First, our comprehensive transportation plan. We have had our first public engagement event, as you are well aware. We received quite a bit of feedback to that, had fair response to that, and we are appreciative to all those in Johnston County for providing that feedback. We have tallied those responses and from not only the public engagement or personal public engagement event, in-person engagement event, but also the surveys that we had distributed out and had out for the community to respond to. So we did get some good responses. We have moved on from that existing condition and exploration stage now to we are currently developing the draft recommendations for the plan. Our intent is to bring those to you at your first meeting in September with our consultant, which is McAdams Company, and they will be presenting those at that time. We will be giving a preview of those draft conditions or draft recommendations to the working group as well as the stakeholder group. And once again, the stakeholder group does involve all 11 of the municipalities in Johnston County, so they are a participant and a part of this plan as well. And on that point, those individual communities that have developed their own local transportation plans, it is our intent to incorporate their recommendations or those items from those plans into this plan and truly be a comprehensive plan so that we can all benefit and be competitive in scoring and ranking projects and hopefully getting Johnston County's needs addressed through DOT where we can.
Are there many of those municipal plans or just the larger towns?
So I know we have Smithfield and we have Clayton.
Yeah.
Benson had developed a plan that is yet to be adopted. Once that is adopted, we will incorporate all of that plan, and we will actually incorporate recommendations from the community that we've been seeing from the Benson area as well.
Right.
So that's where we stand today. Just to give you, so our consultant will be here on our first meeting in August to give you a little bit more of a detailed update, kind of where they've been, what they've done, existing conditions. Try not to give you too much information and data all at once, especially about existing conditions. We kind of know the conditions. We have traffic, we have congestion, we have safety concerns, and that's exactly what we heard from the public engagement session as well as the survey. We've identified some things we didn't know, which is part of this public engagement process. But they will be here at the first meeting in August to give you a brief update. We will keep it as brief as possible, but we just want to make sure you're informed and the public as well for those watching. And moving on, if no questions about that. So our Unified Development Ordinance rewrite, this is in process. We have signed the contract, and they are working, our consultant there is Kenley Horn, and their team is working on an analysis of that and review of our current ordinance and our land use plan and doing a comparative analysis there to see where our deficiencies are, and based on the land use plan, those goals and the desires of this body as well as planning board and the community to determine how we need to go forward with that. So we're hoping to have something before you initially, probably early fall of this year, and we'll address those most immediate concerns if at all possible, and get those before you. Hopefully, we're going to potentially try to get some of this adopted in components without forsaking the comprehensive or the overall ordinance and our long-range vision that's noted in our land use plan. But that's where we are today, and we will be keeping you updated regularly about both of those projects, and especially UDO. We know how paramount that is. And so our time to complete that is 14 months, so we're looking around fall of next year. We should be complete with that and have presented to you for adoption a comprehensive document there.
Great.
Very good.
Thank you. Any questions? All right.
Thank you.
Mr. Newt.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to manager reports. All right, then I will go to board reports, comments.
This probably, it involves real estate. I had to call Rick this week. It's a 4.3 acre tract of land we own in Pine Level. We've had for 30 years. It's off the tax records because we're not paying tax on it ourselves. But the land beside it was just sold this week, 0.95 acres for $125,000, and we have more frontage or more cleared land, and I just wonder if we might want to declare that land surplus or do whatever we need to do to fix it where we can sell it. I think it moved pretty quick. Put about $350,000 back in our coffers.
And where's that at?
Right on 70, where the old Green Hornet Grill used to be.
Yeah.
Right next door to it. Apparently the board of 30 years ago purchased the property, and we've just been holding on to it.
Do we know how it was originally purchased? Just curious.
The best information we have right now, and it may have been even longer than 30 years ago, was maybe for mental health. We used to have our own countywide mental health. I believe that was why it was purchased for some reason, and I'm not really sure why.
Okay.
But as Mr. Brazel said, it's right there at the old Green Hornet Grill. And we've really had no use for it that I know about. You know, I always think about what could go there, but we've got EMS. I think about EMS, and they're already in the Pine Level Fire Department. So I don't see any reason to keep it. You know,
Excuse me.
we really, can't think of a use for it.
Okay. All right. Commissioner Smith. Commissioner Harris.
Yes, sir, just briefly, we had a presentation tonight in public comment about the Isaiah 117 house, and I just want to touch on that just briefly. That's in working on the DSS board and working with those folks, it's needless to say the foster care situation is a very challenging and very difficult and trying situation for not only the parents, the children, the families, and our social workers that have to deal with that. And so I do think that would be a great addition to our community and do bring something to the table for the county to allow those people to have a place to go and kind of reorient and get the processes done and make that transition as painless as possible. It's certainly still not going to be a good thing, but that would be a great addition, I think, to the services that we provide to citizens here in the county. So I fully support the Isaiah 117 house. I think it's a great initiative.
From what I understand, they'll be able to, a lot of these kids have to spend the night in the DSS building with a social worker. That's that's an office environment, it's not a home environment. And when they go there, they would have clothes developed, probably from donations or whatever, but clothes that would fit about any age child. And they would have home furnishings and their own bed, and I think it's a great thing.
Yeah, it's literally a house, and there's a fully stocked kitchen,
Right.
and clothing and backpacks and all the things that the children may need to try to, get them to some normalcy and provide them a good transition as much as possible. Yes, sir.
All right. Commissioner Godwin?
Yeah, I'd like to make a request of the staff, if you bring us some report in August of the early, I hope it's not too soon to get a feedback on the non-decal situation. Just how it's running at the volume change and any apparent problems that have cropped up that we didn't anticipate. Just some feedback.
And I'll be glad to give you a little brief update if you want.
Sure.
If you're prepared. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Mr. Godwin, you know that program without the decals started July 1st. There was not a significant increase to this point, but it's still very early. We're 2 weeks into it, so I've asked Brian Beasley, who's a solid waste manager, he's going to be keeping some statistics, maybe have a better idea at the 60-day mark or something like that. So, but right now, things seem to be okay.
If you don't have any real emergency type problems that might need to be addressed, why don't you wait on until you got some good data, maybe 2 months or something?
Be glad to do it.
That'd be good.
Whatever you all wish.
I have a question about that, if I may.
Yes, sir.
Excuse me. I saw a post recently on social media where a gentleman said that in the past, he's taken his household garbage to the landfill and was able to dispose of there with a decal.
Right.
And he recently went after the decal change was eliminated, and he was charged to go there. When he inquired about it, he was told, well, you should have went to a convenience site. He said, well, the one that's closest to me is now blocked by the bridge being out down there with DOT replacing it. He said, why am I having to pay when in the past it was not a charge to use a decal here at the landfill?
Yeah, and I did talk with him as well, the gentleman, and because I know at the landfill there's
We had a convenience site there, didn't we?
They do for people that have trouble getting up there,
Yeah.
getting their trucks up in that uphill manner. And, but we talked about those sites that were closest to him, the airport, as well as the Smithfield-Selma site. And I wasn't, and I need to check back, but I wasn't sure that did he say he got charged?
Said he got charged.
Okay, well, we'll find out about that. But I did talk to him. And
I had asked that question some time back
Yeah.
about, will we maintain a convenience site at the landfill, and was told no, and that anybody who go there in the future would be charged.
Well,
And I didn't really understand why that would be the case.
and I tell you what would really be helpful there in the future, because, is to have a fully operational convenience site as you get onto that road, instead of folks having to drive all the way down and
I agree.
because sometimes on the weekends, there can be some lines there for haulers.
All right.
So that's something we'll definitely look at too, Mr.
Have we
Stovall.
closed on the property that we're purchasing now?
No, but it's just a matter of getting the title work and things of that
Right.
nature, right, sir. But the process has started, sir.
And I will say to Mr. Stovall's comment, I think that the consultant we've hired is evaluating all our convenience centers to make sure they're as efficient as they can be, and also the locations. So I think that'll probably be part of that.
But I will tell you, overall, I think it's been a very positive move to eliminate the decal. Very positive.
Mr. Chairman, do you remember when we went and looked at the old Smithfield site? Is there any interest in looking into that further and maybe?
I think that's what we have a consultant for,
301, yeah.
to examine all that.
Is he going to talk? That's what I was wondering now. Is he going to talk about that?
At this point, I don't know. We hadn't even got started with the convenience center, so I don't know what the next, he's not under contract yet to look at that for us. But I think that is, I think everything's on the table, so.
Yeah.
But I think that elimination of decals been good for the customers, the citizens of Johnston County, and the staff too, so, anyway.
Okay.
We'll get some more statistics, and I'll follow back up on that.
Okay.
Mr. Stovall.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Stovall, you have any?
Good.
All right, and the chairman has none, so I will entertain the motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.